When it comes to motivational wisdom, definitely I'm motivated to help you to know lovely Dr. Daniel Siegel, interpersonal neurobiology, and Dharma, Dharma. Yes, the 5D collective is going to do Dharma because they're going to have the bilateral, vertical, overall integrated brain of a non traumatized person who has secure attachment and has the capacity to regulate independently of relationships. Yes, your ventral energy, your ventral vagal state, and that's because you don't need yoga for it. I mean, I didn't do yoga until I met Sadhguru, but as he points out, transformation is when who you are is not determined anymore by other people's opinions or other people's presence. Thank you, Sadhguru. And what I know is every adaptive child, pause, self person, 3D, 4D collective thinks they know this, and I can see that they don't because of their protective little stance and them talking shit about all the smart trauma experts who are really just helping anybody who wants to have the kingdom of God, heaven within you, to achieve it. And it's called, lo and behold, restorative embodiment and resilience. And there's a beautiful book you can all read if you want it. But what I've found is that most people that are out there, I hear them basically thinking, I want to do personal development, Maria. I want life now. Or the Zen master who says, you can't have enlightenment, people. There's suffering. So, we have our two groups, and really these two groups have consistently existed over time. I'm a mystic in the Enlightenment Soul Age group, and I do come with God, Jesus, and Holy Spirit. And when I was opened up to Claire's, thank you, Jesus, for being my very much walk a walk and talk a talk and all of it, and God reminding me of humility, integrity, and don't judge human suffering, because I get irritated with it. So there's the only one thing that I really do have a charge. I'm still working to process it, but it's really a lot easier today because I'm a smart person who doesn't waste my time. Time isn't money, it is life. And it's also money, but really it's life. And so every 24 hours, I'm going to make sure to be a stable, mature, adaptive, rational, teachable human being, because that's my inner well-being, anchored in ventral energy, which I did mindfully thanks to my mind being integrated and my 3-year-old staying differentiated. And that's because my mother allowed me to learn healthy self-regulation, and my twin was in the fetus with me and all that, so I didn't have the I'm all alone, which is very important, which is why I determined Robert Sapolsky come on in. If he's right, nobody has free will, so really at IHP, all I'm going to get is, thankfully, those of you who know time and life go hand in hand, and your inner well-being is the number one priority. So you don't pretend or fake it. You actually heal trauma, number one, if you need to, and become non-traumatized, which means unlike the Zen master who doesn't know how to metabolize when he has laundry, because that's why he's using a word and dragging a pain point around, so he uses his temporal junction. And anybody who says, I did, I want life now, or they call self-help pseudoscience bullshit and crap. Pseudoscience, yes, bullshit, not really. Crap, I mean, really, everybody shits. But what I find shitty is people using words with their left mode, which is why the masculine is completely uninteresting to an empowered feminine. And all masculine, it's not about them being men. It's about them using only one side of the brain and not noticing that their feminine is waiting for them to come home to their true self, which is why Patrick Tahan is awesome. I love that man. He tells you don't have to forgive. I'm not in that boat. I already know forgiveness because I met Jesus, and I do know Jesus and the Holy Spirit and what God is all about. And he will never, ever, ever terrify and make all of his children frightened the way the 3D, 4D instead continue to do with their hell and Lucifer stories and, what bleeds leads. Journalism. No, that's shitty journalism. But I did learn in my bachelor's years that that's what happened. So I look forward to seeing how we continue to evolve as a globe, because I'm not dumb enough to think that there's ever any need to make sensationalism out of shit. Because it's really boring for those of us who are smart, stable, mature, adaptive, rational, teachable, because the securely attached person knows what love and attraction is, which is what we're going to talk about next, because we don't live from our visceral, which is actually a person who is leading with, lo and behold, drumroll, fear, like the fancy lady man in suit. So when I meet modulated embodiment people, I know that I'm going to meet their pause self, like my facade friend, and they're not motivated by anything, because really they're just motivated with using their mouth. I, on the other hand, choose to disengage from it completely, because I have no time to waste, but also because their ears are flopped down since they're already in their little protective mode, because their faith in humanity got wrecked, because they have been basically on whole inside of them, and nobody tended to say, hey, let me go get my inner child reparented. Let me allow myself to wake up in the morning and use my thoughts with the inner growth mindset. Maybe let me use my emotions in the surfboard. So when I think of people wasting time, yes, there's a lot of them. And I started to notice them as an adolescent. The difference is I got busy for real because that's what I am, is a person who has all of that, which is self-regulating capacity. Thank you, Mother. As she pointed out, it's your life, not mine. Your life, not mine. Your life, not mine. And I was like, you know what? Yeah. And Jesus said, okay, Maria, now forgive. Don't cast stones. Remember, blessed are those who believe without seeing. And God said, those are your brothers and sisters. I made you exactly how I wanted you to be made, and so did they. But guess what I know about those people out there who think that humanity is broken and they continue to insult each other? Let's see. So I'm non-traumatized because I'm a smart integrated brain. And that's because, again, I have thoughts and emotions, and I'm able to mindfully, with mindsight skills, have the capacity to surf. I've never had the clinical dissociation, even as I was going through panic attacks. Now, with Robert Sapolsky determined, for all we know, it's genes, which is why, again, IHP will attract those who have the same genes. That means that you do love to love and live and laugh and learn and expand and not cast stones into emotions from your ventral energy, the depths of you. That's another lovely quote today from our lovely Sadhguru. He is always awesome, awesome. That man, I love him. So, let me go find, here it is. The depth of your attention determines the depth of your experience. If your attention is profound, your experience of life is profound. And you know what happens when people don't want to face their emotions and you're sitting at a table trying to help a person to process a heartbreak so that they can be healed from it versus pretend that they're healed from it and continue to live a facade life? The ignorant human beings around me make jokes and they basically allow distraction to happen, which means that you create distance from the depths of you because you're not able to use your human secondary consciousness, which is the capacity to do thoughts and feelings with ease, which is the resilience that you build in the restorative, embodied, self-aware, accountable, regulating life. And the ones who still want to say, resilience, what does it actually mean? It means you went through shit. No. No, I am not going through shit because I have feels. I'm actually a real boy, a real girl, a real day, meaning I have the depths of my emotional plane. Why is this such a big deal for people? The evolutionary psychologist told me why. It's because when you're in the fetal position crying, that equals monsters. No, bears, lions, tigers, oh my, Wizard of Oz, they will eat you. So there's all explanations. Who doesn't like an explanation? Let me ask you. So I know. Maria knows. So I'm 4 years old and I get rejected by boys because I want to sit everybody down to read to them. I am now an adolescent in high school and it's a Friday evening and the teacher says, hey, so does anybody have any questions? I raise my hand. Do we have any homework? Boo! And I don't even bother because seriously, stupidity, it's not attractive. So my point is the ones who don't want to do anything about themselves, I have nothing to say except for, here's Bezel. Trauma is not a story of something that happened in the past. Trauma is the imprint that all experiences leave on your soul and your body as your sensations. Bezel van der Kolk, MD. And the reason teenagers didn't like me, the same reason why fake people don't like me, is because I just give them the data that makes them think, you're so serious, stop. Allow yourself to make a conscious choice. That way you can feel better. Like when I was a smoker, I said to people, look, I'm not addicted. I know my body and I know my brain and I own my mind, but you don't believe me, which is fine because I can't prove it. And when I quit, it was snap and done because I do know who I am. And anybody who doesn't, wow, you're not going to go take care of that like right now so that you can disengage from being manipulated by those who are not actively charming to us. They are actively not only delusional, they are pathological, and even without any of the explanation of the attachment trauma, no, they're not Lucifer's demons. No, in fact, they only like to use words in ways that are pretty clear to the smart human being brain. And the smart human being brain is not smart if they have a pause self, because the pause self is a 3-year-old with implicit memory, including the fetus and all of this. So I learned from smart people why I have so many human beings who don't know how to be their self. And so many who just love trending topics, and I don't. I don't do trends. I'm serious business, which is where motivational wisdom, pursue inner well-being, mental, emotional, and physical mastery, be you and thrive. Oh, and it doesn't involve you doing it all by myself. No. And so when I hear motivational speeches, the woman, she did it all by herself because she's strong. I'm a woman. The man, let's put that to the side because I really want more men to stand up for themselves, but they keep telling me I'm a woman, so I'm going to leave it alone. What I can tell you is that a true man is going to know self-awareness, and they're going to pursue to be securely attached. It ain't boring to have your anchored in ventral energy, and that's because you're a functional child adult who knows love and attraction, and also the importance of time isn't money. It is actively life, and every year that goes by, if you don't learn, you stress, your distress will eat you away. But hey, again, let's just pretend like everybody knows how to live in restorative embodiment when they use the words. No, they don't. You can't always be on, wow, you actually have more degrees than I'll ever have, and you don't know how to put it into practice. Again, that Zen master. So whenever people cry, apparently they don't know it's about connection. I do also need to remind you, my motivation is to physically stay alive. Pure consciousness incarnate. And that's unconditionally loving. 5D collective, a bunch of us, not just some of us. There's not chosen ones in this way. The only chosen ones are the same ones who need to have a group like the flat earthers. So my point is, when you make it all a flat line, secure attachment is boring. No, we're grounded in reality. We just know that anything that comes out of our mouth is a thought and a feeling, and not that you're in love with me. No, it's actually, I'm aware, accountable, regulating in a functional child adult way. I will have read things. I will have had culture, heritage, all that, implicit, explicit, by all of it. It all comes here. And then I will be able to share it. So at HP, we have people who are serious about their healing trauma. So being their true self. That way we don't have pretenders. And I'm serious. And then we also know why we will continue to have pretenders, because fear coexists with love. That's how human evolution, consciousness, and those who are mystics, and that's with God and Akash and Source. And that's why I put Dharma today, because we do Dharma. We don't have fate or karma. No, we use two sides of the brain, and our body and our mind and our heart and our self and our soul are not tainted with trauma charges, because that's a point. The Zen master doesn't know how to process every time shit comes up, because he's chosen to give it a name, make it into an object. He's not taming it. He's just leaving it there, which is why the stagnating isn't a devil or a Lucifer. No, it's all people with half a brain, which is why, hey, have fun, Pinocchio. See you later, alligator. I ain't coming. But I definitely will see as you stagnate in your toxicity, and as, what's his face? Patrick Chan points out, well, they can make sense of anything that is, yes, not actually a good relationship. That's not fun to watch, by the way, but we do forgive. Who? Well, we forgive in general because we're not God. So forgiveness, and I forgave. No, it's not. As my lovely Dr. Daniel Siegel, he's not mine, but as he has shared in a multitude of lovely courses that I take with him, forgiveness is that time will never be given back to you. And you're able to process, as Pat Ogden would point out, so metabolize emotions that come up. So even if I have been done, quote unquote, this service, we'll talk about this one later, there's no fucking disservice. You haven't physically killed me. Sticks and stones won't break my bones, and words will never harm me. The only people who will say until they do are the same ones who ignore the fact that they could be ruling themselves differently if only they took seriously people like Bezo van der Kolk, who in the 1980s aroundish, Janina Fisher is the one who gave me those dates, is when they began. Who's they? The smart mental health trauma experts, all of them that know the body keeps the count and the score, or whatever. The body keeps the score and the mind keeps the count, says this other person. And at the end of the day, a smart therapist will talk to you at EMDR, child parts work somatics, and they will allow themselves to psych-educate you. And a smart human being will want that. And then they will go and take care of it, and they won't ignore it. So even if it takes them 20 years, they're going to know the truth, because your ears will hear it if you want it. If your ears will distort it, I already know, hey, Cusco, again, have fun on your island until you are, blue and donkey-ish. But the yucky part is that I now know when I am interacting with any of them as a grown woman that I got a 0-8-year-old in the room. And that's not really something amazing at all. So we're going to talk about love and attraction. Love shack, yes, for the real kind, not the pretend kind. And again, please leave alone the fearful. They are actively holding a place. Allow yourself to remember, God gives us free will. determined. Robert Posey says we have none. Other mindfulness individuals say yourself is an illusion and so is free will. And then they say conscious. And so they just change it up. I'm going to let you know your free will is that there's smart therapists who give you the answers to why some people will not choose love. And that's because their ears, as they distort things, they never question why that unkindness and that broken faith in humanity and in a relationship being able to work well, why they continue to think something bad has to happen, like here. Okay, so when someone consistently is with that, it's only once they understand the psychoeducation that that is not a longing that needs Lucifer or evil. No, that's called gut wrench, torn apart shit, which is trauma charges that are eating away at you because your 1-year-old didn't get what it needed, or your 3-year-old, or basically there were ruptures and things that didn't get healed. So once you are 20-ish, that's where Patrick Chan, thank you so much for being out there, as he points out, that's when he went to therapy and it saved him, and then he became a therapist, and he talks really well about everything that is of a childhood trauma survivor's journey, the ones who are healed and healing, and how to continue to work with the unkindness that came forth, not because you were a child that was meant to be that. No, you are a child of God like every one of us, and Akash in source. So your soul, like my soul and everybody else's, is pure love. But that love is discerning and equanimous. It's not a needing to be something that people, when they hear love, they think it's a specific type. And that's just because of the majority of people and the way they talk it. So I'm going to add some new words to it. That way we can start allowing ourselves to know that love is discerning, because that means that you have wise judgment, not judgment with charge, which is why I know where my biases are. I find human suffering a waste of fucking time. But the difference is I can admit, thanks to Determined, that my 3-year-old, she's great. Which is why I consistently have said to masculines, I don't have time to waste in my own brain. Which is also why there's no tragedy with oversoul members. Because the minute that you will have given me 3 opportunities to notice your inconsistency, your word means shit. You don't know what the fuck you want. I have things to do, and love is not hard. It's actually quite easy because it's 2 people who decide to consistently be involved in that life that has 24 hours. You don't need a genius, but you do need healthy self-worth and acceptance. Yeah, I'm crooked, I'm flawed, what do you want? You God? No, you're not. Get out of my face. So that's how it works for a person who got also taught by my mother what a grown-up, shame on them, and how to, don't say anything though, you come to me and be polite. I taught you politeness. To this day, I'm polite. At the same time, my body's 4'9". The teenagers wanted to beat me up. It's because I definitely would have ratted them all out, and I am cool with being the annoying bitch. I have no shits to give because, again, don't waste my time. So you want to think of me as a snoot? Go for it. You want to think I'm not grandiose. I am confident, however, which is also why I don't waste my breath. And I learned how to have fun with people. Excuse me, or confusing science spirituality. I literally, at this point in my life, and it's been a while already, I don't hear any, oh my God, ego. No, because ego's all insecure when it's the little masculine all by himself without noticing the inconsistencies of what's torturing. So I have to calm down so that we can move into our next conversation. The scientists, Peter Levine, Stephen Porges, Dr. Daniel Siegel, Dr. Daniel Fox, Bezel van der Kolk, Janina Fisher, and all of them, they are more compassionate here than I will ever be, meaning that they know the sciences behind it. So whenever I began to learn, I just would cry, and out of somewhere, I was like, I need to not see people, because every time I'm near them, my non-traumatized, securely attached eyes with my ventral energy, I don't know what's going to happen. And I'm not joking. Every person in my class, the ones who are smart, not the ones who are just copying each other out of just wanting to be trends, which is another side, spiritual bypassers, people who are not good at their job because they're not healed themselves. Go get healed before you talk to me about you being a healer. How dare you write somebody, you trauma dump on me? That is actively unnecessary. And you want to be what? What's the position, Elsa, on your journey with a bunch of other arrogant human beings because you have no capacity to know how to rule your own nervous system, but also be objective enough to notice, wow, that's some spiteful shit going on. I know when I get into my feels about the irritation with those who are completely, to me, lazy, and that's why God keeps reminding me not to judge human suffering and to remember that everybody plays the game of life the way they want, and it's none of my business if they want to be tortured souls. And so that's exactly what it is, a tortured soul, because that poor soul wants to come out and be part of the groove, so does the inner child of you. But I mean, again, I'm hoping all of you, I'm sure if you're still here, that you take it seriously. The ones who don't, sure, they can talk about the demons. They come out because my spirit gets you into demon shit. No, those figures of speech are bullshit. It's because your ventral energy triggers shit that comes up. Science gives explanations. What I like is they make nobody's a badass. And actually, everyone is a badass who chooses love. And as for the cowards, we feel bad for them. They won't rule. You know why? Distress and their brain's stupid. And actively, what they offer the community of the smart ones is basically the golden nuggets that we build shit from. So anybody who thinks fear wins, the same illusion they have. There's no fear winning. Fear is stagnating. Fear is lazy. Fear doesn't have the capacity to get up in the morning and think well. Fear consistently looks at how yesterday was as well as how things are going to go horrible. And that's why any empowered masculine is what instead will give us, because see, the empowered masculine will have known the side of fear. They will have known the side of, I will not be able to stand on my own 2 feet because I am crooked, I am flawed in a way that is shameful. And they instead, because they finally realize, okay, shit, me doing nothing and being frozen, and that is where the empowered masculines and feminines come together. And nobody is needed for this because it's an actual blend that consistently happens within the sphere of our lovely consciousness and evolution. And what I love is the enlightened ones who share this consistently. People who don't actually enjoy hearing that everything's going to work out, meaning that they're like, oh, okay, that's so awesome, I'm so relieved. Okay, we're going to keep doing and being, and they're not at all like, oh my God, no way. Okay, so people who are the 5D collective, they like to hear, okay, let's keep moving forward, because they don't want to make it into a little battlefield, because they don't like navigating low frequency. Because why? Why are you making me agitated? And why are you, there's no need. So when you're love and you're equanimous and you're discerning, and that's because you have consistency within you, you're a securely attached, again, non-traumatized, safe person, safe haven, secure base for yourself. This is emotional, mental, physical maturity. It is not done by itself. It is done because every time you're faced with something that is unknown, uncertain, unwanted, you take your 2 hands and your 2 feet and you have a nice surfboard conversation. Not, I'm going to distract myself, make humor. And anybody who continues to minimize experiences of their life is continuing to not to want to explore the depths of them, which they don't have to. That's why 3D 40 is going to hang around and continue doing their whoo, and we're going to have fun making fun of them, because seriously, they are hilarious. They think they're being themselves and thriving, sure, but I'm happy for you. God is benevolent. Again, no Lucifer demons, just there's going to be 2 groups of us, the ones who do know restorative embodiment for real, and the ones who pretend to, because they'll use the same words we do. They will actively continue to do that because, again, love and fear coexist. As long as we are pure consciousness incarnate, we will consistently be souls that want to expand, and spirit. And it doesn't have to have one story. That's why spirituality, bring it all in. And we're going to have some channel guidance, food for thought messages later on. But thanks for stopping by. Motivational wisdom. Again, you motivate yourself to tap into the infinite higher human consciousness self of you. I didn't need to motivate myself because I got lucky. I got my mom, I got my twin, I got God, Jesus, Holy Spirit, and I said yes. I stay open-hearted. I use my 2 hands, 2 feet, choose to be kind, even if you're unkind, even if you're unkind, even if you're unkind, even if you're, I'm not going to make a generalized statement. Generalizations and stereotypes are not to be used to make blanket statements. If they are used, they are to be used effectively to understand that we can have some similar groups. And really, if you're that closed-minded and locking people up over time in the same groups, you're stagnating and you're forgetting that we're now a globe and that things do change in time, and you actively don't know how to be in the present. You're not in your prefrontal cortex. So it means that it's too hard for you to be able to consistently be mindfully aware. It's okay. The Zen master has a hard time with it too. For me, it's not hard. So as you get familiar with flexible, adaptive, coherent, energized, stable brain, the resiliency of the restorative, embodied, self-aware, accountable, regulating person, it's not, oh my God. No, it's statistics, studies, stereotypes, data is used, and it can continue to evolve because that's exactly how the globe works. Renaissance, medieval times, enlightenment. I mean, when I think of Nietzsche, I just think the same Nietzsche With the superhuman are the people who think that to be in our flow state is supernatural. While when you learn from smart neuroscientists who know how the brain works, they say it's not supernatural. It's actually your human makeup. So the people who don't like to hear any one of us can do it are the ones who need to feel that they're special and chosen. The ones who instead say, yes, every one of us can do it and I want to do it too. And or I don't know where I'm at, those are come on over, and that means that you are loving the depths of your mental, emotional, and physical plane, because that's your inclination. That's the Dharma people. The inclination of the ones who will continue to suffer and have fear, I don't actually enjoy having to be aware of these groups of all these people. And that's because it's sad. They all can go and heal with Patrick Tiahan, and they consistently instead, poor unfortunate souls, so sad but true. This one wanting to be pretty, that one wanting to get the girl. And do I help them? Yes, I do. No, I don't, but yes, I do. As a person who is a Reiki practitioner, support people when in need, because our light bodies expand, and that's always independently from if you will stagnate. Universe, source, God, and spirit will continue to knock 3 times on the ceiling if you want this. No, by the 3rd time, or 4th or 5th, it depends. Whatever the fuck you will have chosen in the meantime, you might end up finding yourself with your face in the fucking mud, and there you go. It's too late. But you better bet that it will try to get you to live your soul's purpose, which isn't something that has a word. It's called the innocence of the open-hearted child that you used to be and that you can reclaim. And that's why therapy is the first step for anybody. And anytime I hear anybody not doing it, well, I mean, again, Elsa, have fun. Show yourself. I'm dying to meet you, as you continue to wear dress after dress after dress after dress, so that you can be just as fancy as can be and continue to impress that which is an external community, which has nothing to do with the inner world of you. But at the same time, your body at one point or another will disengage from having you feel that which is suffering, because neuroplasticity, the dark sides, means you shut yourself in, shame, blame, fault, revenge cycle, and there's your stuck in stone little protective mode of a teenage version of a person, and that's in general. So fear, again, it's clear what it is. No worries, it'll be fine as we move forward. Astrid, please don't hit us. Grounded in reality are the ones of us who know anything that comes out of our mouths are potential falsifiable, yes, and we don't use data the way gossipers do, because that's not how it actually works for the mind that is intellectual. It is when I see a panel of experts with hypotheses and books they're coming out with and research projects and all that, that's when I would be aware and attentive in a very specific way. When I'm on YouTube and all the other social media platforms, I'm having a good time like you are right now. And that's because that's what it is. It's a personal share. So data and data in a way that contributes to future is always done in a very specific, systematic, organized fashion. Otherwise, it won't be used for much except for the continuation of bullshit, which is why we got a fancy woman in suit being listened to when she says, women, 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 gather around, gather around. Remember, after he fucks you, don't think it. I know what you're thinking, and I don't know what the fuck she's about to say, and my regular listeners know it. Wedding bells, and like, no, you're a broken flower, you're a whore, and now you're junk, and no man's gonna want to marry you apparently, or something like that. But they can go fuck whoever they want and they can continue it. Those gender stereotypes, again, they're not true, they're bullshit, and the people who follow them are gonna continue to follow them, and that's where they're gonna be. Meantime, we are here for the ones who actively are expanding into the future, into the unknown of Dharma, and we'll talk about this. And so we welcome spirituality, sciences comes together. I know I bring human elements, spiritual elements, spirituality elements. It's Maria's subjective experience in life, and all the human elements are a bunch of different topics from a bunch of different people, which is why it's also sciences. And I am the pseudo-science woo lady. So in the future, we will be having a masterclass once we have enough sign-ups. We will have spiritual retreats, workshops potentially. Don't know where, don't know when, but when we have enough sign-ups, again. And that's for my 5D Mystic community. Those of you who do enjoy Akashic record readings, Reiki practitioners, and Reiki sessions, Tarot Oracle, these are lovely tools that I get to bring to you. And the ones who consider it all demonic and shitty, I mean, really, they didn't learn about Patrick McNamara and the decentralized self and our religious experiences and how the brain works and how the fear receptor goes wonky when you have nightmare after nightmare after nightmare. And instead of going to get healed, you think there's psychological and spiritual warfare going on. And in fact, that you're time jumping and this and that. And so when I see people who have, again, more certificates than I ever will have, and they actually remind me of El Dorado, I think, wow, pseudo aliveness on screen with a person who actively is offline as they are in the very same position that I was shown by Bethany and Ruth Lanius, or Ruth Lanius and Bethany, in the dissociative disorder in-depth course, where this is called butterflies. Ooh, and I'm like, shit, I've seen this more times than I can count, and these people all tell me, no, all this stuff, what are you talking about? I don't need any of it. I'm great. I'm alive. Yes, you're not. But hey, I can't actually continue to try and educate anyone on anything. You're so boring. Why do you keep talking about attachment trauma, Maria? So with that, be yourself, thrive. Come on over, join us, like, share, and subscribe. It'll help the channel grow. And obviously, if you do want, there's Spotify and other podcast platforms, audio alone. I have decided that I will consistently populate it with our YouTube videos for any of you who are regular subscribers over there, and that our channel guidance will be monthly. So right now we will have one for March. If there's anything important that comes about, you all know this, so play it by ear. If you subscribe, that's the best way for you to get notified. So just say yes to notifications. And that way you can just check in when there's something new. And when it's a repeat from YouTube, for those of you, again, who are subscribed everywhere, it'll show the first sentence. I'll tell you if it was already posted on YouTube, so you don't have to use your time there. I do want to keep it going, but the audio version podcast will have in time something that I will formulate. In the meantime, I'm focusing on populating our lovely YouTube with videos because I've gotten comfortable and it's nice and it's easy and straightforward. And that's exactly why I'm using it also for our Spotify. Since Spotify, you will be able to see the videos. The other podcast platforms, no, because they're audio and it's just not allowed yet. And again, thanks for being here. Have a great one.